Hey, FlimsyLunchTray here, and welcome to World of Warships in Tuesday edition video. And today, we're going to look at the Tier 10 Premium USS Salem, Tier 10 American Heavy Cruiser, and I'm going to talk about why Salem is my favorite Tier 10, or my favorite heavy cruiser in World of Warships. Also going to talk about why I prefer her over Des Moines. I was actually asked a question by Unsinkable2 yesterday on the Tier 10 Worcester video uploaded, and I wrote out a pretty detailed response, and I was like, you know what, let's just go ahead and talk about that. Let's put it into a video. So thank you, Unsinkable2, for your question. Now here we get a little fun engagement. So this replay, but then there's going to be a main replay. I'll talk more about why I like Salem so much. I'll talk more about the differences between Salem and Des Moines and why I prefer Salem over Des Moines. But you're already getting a bit of an example of it here, just because having a heavy cruiser with these 2 and 3mm guns and picking up first blood with the gearing that we caught off guard, as there's a large complement of enemy ships behind this island here in arms race. So let's talk about this battle, because this battle is going to be very short-lived. And what I mean by that is we're going to receive 100,000 damage, but we're going to dish out over 200,000 damage. And this game is the best or shortest reload I've ever had in Salem. So if you haven't got that far into the video yet, you're not skipped ahead, go ahead and put down in the comments, how fast will FlimsyLunchTray get the reload on Salem 2? Okay, so the reload starts at 5.5 stock, right? Okay, so I'm not gonna, you can already maybe see some hints on the screen of what's happening. So go ahead and write, how fast do you think FlimsyLunchTray gets the reload on Salem down to in this game in arms race? Hint, hint. So, why is Salem, Des Moines such really good heavy cruisers in World of Warships? Mainly, it's due to their amazing guns. You know, most ships you can work with if they have good guns. If they have crap guns, they can be really frustrating ships to play. But on the Salem, Des Moines, you get a complement of 9 203mm guns that have amazing HE quality, have amazing AP quality. When we're looking at the DPM, both of these can put out. In the build that I have, the high explosive with my Des Moines build setup, it'd be 298,000. AP would be 533,000. With Salem, 339 high explosive shell damage raw DPM, and raw DPM with APM would be 606,000. And what benefits the Salem and Des Moines so well is her ability to really anchor in on island locations, kind of like as you see we've really been playing around the island thus far, which is going to be most of this game and a little bit of a good portion of next game, I guess, as well. Not so much kiting, which you can do in Salem, Des Moines, but she favors, both ships favor more of this playing along island, bow in. Maybe if you have enough island coverage, you can also get all 9 guns going, right? Not just the forward 2 turrets, just the 6 guns. But it's finding this ability to set yourself up well. Now Salem, which I'll talk about, she can deal a little bit more, playing more aggressive than what Des Moines can when it comes down to the super heal. Okay, there's a lot more you can get away with Salem than you can in Des Moines, as long as you're mindful of both the ship's limitations. You know, both have a large citadel. They don't have the best agility in the world. Turrets take a little bit of time to turn. Versus maybe other cruisers in the game that have a better turning traverse. But we help ourselves out here with Halsey. So I run Halsey on Des Moines and Salem. And with Halsey, you get 2 enhanced skills. One is the Grease the Gears, so your main battle traverse speed is improved by, well, let's look. What would it be without a regular commander? I think it's plus 15%. because it's not. I'm looking at Rouse fitting tool, and with Halsey you get a bump up to plus 20%. So you get 5% for whatever works. You get 5% faster with Halsey. We don't take the main battery modification 2 for turret traverse. In the third slot, we take the aiming systems modification, so we're getting better horizontal and vertical dispersion, so tighter shell groupings. So when you're playing with Salem, Des Moines, just again finding these island positions. Now in this situation, it's kind of too late to run. You know, there's a GK, there's a Schlieffen, there's a Des Moines, there's a Slava. There's even an Henri way far in distance. Our GK is all the way down on the eye line, so I kind of give the GK some grief, but he's going to actually come in super clutch in helping us out in this game. So I think he can just see the writing on the wall. The flank is going to collapse. So that's usually what I think kills most cruiser players, particularly with Des Moines and Salem, is trying to figure out, you know, you see the writing on the wall, looking at the minimap, oh my gosh, there's 5 ships incoming on me, run. So you turn out broadside, you show the enemy battleships, cruisers, your broadside, and you die really quick. Okay, Salem in Des Moines, particularly I'd say more so Salem, is you go down fighting and swinging. Like, you just get the idea of kind of, you know, on the streets of Boston, you know, back in the day in the 40s and stuff. Like, that's just the vision I get with Salem. I think there's a better term for it. Like, you know, Boston gangs or something, whatever. Anyhow, so we've taken a big, decent hit there from the GK. So we are about to have our heal come off cooldown. Now, if you look at our reload time right now, it's about 3 seconds, okay? 2 of 3 reload buffs have been had. We have top grade gunner on our commander as well as Halsey. And one of the benefits you get with Halsey if you do get the Confederate is that you get a buff to your reload. And now I'm even forgetting what that is. World of Warships unique commanders. I think it's an 8 or it's a 10% reduction time in your reload. I'll tell you in just a moment. It is negative 20% reload time. So that's massive. Okay, now we've got the reload, the third 3 of 3 reloads from the arms race buffs. There's Confederates, and now hello GK. You're gonna see these guns with Adrenaline Rush, with Top Grade Gunner, with Confederate, firing every 2 seconds. 2-second reload time here on Salem, as we're just dishing out the AP, getting that raw DPM pumped into the GK before unfortunately we go down. But with that many shots in the air, at like a destroyer reload speed, like Ragnar or something, getting closer to Forrest Sherman, we take out the GK, and then with 222,000 damage. And this game goes the whole 9 yards. It comes down to a 1v1. So Confederate Halsey BOP. So now I'm going to talk more about why, in this video you're going to see why Salem, and as the last video really illustrates why Salem is my favorite between Des Moines and Salem when you're comparing them. But it's overall why I like Salem the best, and I'll talk about that now. So Unseekable2 asks, why do you prefer Salem over the Des Moines? So I say this: the Salem has a slightly more aggressive playstyle than the Des Moines. You could take more forward positions in Salem by, let's say, several kilometers that I wouldn't be comfortable to do in Des Moines. This mainly comes down to 3 things, but let's focus on the first 2. The first is the super heal, comparable to like a heal that you'd find on, like, you know, Minotaur, Conqueror levels of healing. The heal makes you an absolute nightmare to deal with if you get anchored in by an island, as you're difficult to dislodge because you're able to heal back much more health than you can in Des Moines. Other times you'll have to abandon your position because your flank completely collapses and there's nothing but overmatch, like 457s and up, about to push your flank. So then if you have time, you take on a kiting playstyle, and with the propulsion, which I run in the 4th slot, and then you have, you know, just rudder in general, you play with those 2 in that kiting playstyle. I had this happen not too long ago where I couldn't do what I did in this first clip I showed you, because there was a Yamato, there was I don't know, some other big hitters at Ohio, so I had to run, and I had enough time to do so where like in the first game I was able to. And again, the Super Hill helps you get away with more than what you can get away with in Des Moines. But kiting Des Moines, I would say plays better if you have the unique upgrade in the 6th slot. And if you're wondering what the unique upgrade is, the unique upgrade is the enhanced propulsion plant, which time taken to reach full engine power when accelerating, -50%. And you get that in the 6th slot, as well as the propulsion modification 1 in the 4th slot. Okay, so it's really OP to have. So with the unique upgrade Des Moines, you can more easily avoid incoming BB and battlecruiser salvos in sidestep. So the Sailing Robin, he's my favorite World of Warships content creator. He has the Des memes. That's fantastic. You should look at it and watch it if you haven't seen it. Secondly, is you don't have the ability to take the unique upgrade as you can on the Des Moines in the 6th slot, meaning you take the main variety modification 3 for faster reload in the 6th slot on Des Moines. Okay, so that means that you're getting a negative 12% reduction in your main battery reload time. So you get a higher DPM out of Salem because of that. Where with Des Moines, I take the unique upgrade because I love the unique upgrade on Des Moines. So this increases your DPM in combination with the top grade gunner, which I run on Halsey on both Salem and Des Moines. And it helps with the main battery modification 3 to shine more on Salem. Paired with the Adrenaline Rush, you can have a higher rate of fire than in Des Moines. Then you get Confederate with Halsey. That's a fun game, as you just saw a little bit ago. Also loving the unique upgrade on Des Moines, as I tend to troll enemy BBs and battlecruisers with it when not tucked in behind an island. Thirdly is that it's not as significant as the first two, but it's that 8.5 kilometer versus the 10 kilometer radar. This kind of adds to that playing in a more aggressive position because Des Moines having the better playing slightly further back with her 10 kilometer radar and her normal repair party, right? It's not a super heal. And now, of course, with Salem, you have to choose between the radar or the hydroacoustic search or the 5 kilometer hydroacoustic search. And so you'll see, if you watch King of the Seas, often you'll see the really good Salem players that they'll run hydro instead. Because it lasts longer. They're usually playing that anchor position on a flank with Salem. And you're kind of waiting for that Napoli or whatever to make that push around the corner of the island. So having the hydro gives you a better idea when that might take place. So that's really when it comes down to why I like Salem more than Des Moines. Now this playstyle you've seen me so far, we're up to 112,000 damage. The enemy team has made it really easy on us. Also, I would like to make mention of the Somme player, who's now in B1. He's been providing a lot of spotting for us. So we've been really focusing on one of the absolute fun aspects of Salem and Des Moines as well. We've just been playing behind an island. We have been taking it easy. The enemy team have made themselves very vulnerable to us. You know, you saw we're on 7 fires now, but we were just hopping between Stalingrad. We were hopping over to the GK, and we were just pumping out this raw HE, high explosive DPM, and setting fires. And now we've set one on the Aegir. I don't know, but I think he DCP'd that. So, and this really is the best part of the gameplay when it comes to Salem, when it comes to Des Moines. It's just playing that island coverage position. You won't last long with all the overmatch in World of Warships if you play open gunboat. You're not playing the islands, you're not playing the covering positions like I'm doing here in this game. And especially when you have an enemy team that's been really, this flank has been really feeding themselves to us, but making mention of our teammates who have, like the Somme, who's going to have a really good game. He's been providing that vital spotting and being very aggressive in terms of spotting them, so they can't just simply hide behind the islands here. Now we have, of course, there's a lot of us here at ACAP, but we've been able to take our time. We've been able to punish the enemy team, and once we fold this flank, then of course we'll simply move over to C. So, with Salem Des Moines, if you don't have to play aggressive, then don't, right? So when we're getting this position here and how the game's going, enemy teams, again, they're feeding themselves to us, so we don't have to play aggressive. one of the things I really liked about the WoW's wiki on Salem, with the handling characteristics befitting her size and the utility offered by her consumables, Salem is an excellent support ship and a, quote, late game terror. She serves equally well as both an anti-air and anti-destroyer screening vessel. However, unlike Des Moines, Salem's radar is not as useful in assisting in detection of enemy destroyers due to its shorter range. Now, I say this about cruisers in World of Warships. Probably cruisers at this point in World of Warships, I would say, are the most difficult class to play in the game because of all the overmatch, right? We're getting the new, soon-to-be new Japanese battleship line with 457s. You know, there's more and more and more and more overmatch here in World of Warships, so it makes cruiser life really difficult. So being able to maintain majority of your health for the last half of the battle on a cruiser is very difficult. Okay, that's something I've had to learn as time has progressed when I'm playing cruisers. I quite like playing cruisers. Salem is among, I think, my top 10 now of most played ships in the game, as well as things like Des Moines and now getting another Confederate, Minotaur, so on and so forth. So there's just a lot of ability you have with a light cruiser, heavy cruiser, if you survive to the late half of the game here in World of Warships. And that's when you'll see those really big damage numbers start appearing. Now I have another game I meant to go over the replay thoroughly before the WoW's replay before the new update occurred, and I didn't. Where I'm in a Salem game, I have 83,000 damage. Battle length was 5 minutes and 45 seconds because our team just like died. It's one of my shortest games ever in World of Warships, as this submarine player doesn't understand quite how to avoid and maybe consider diving or just not sailing into us constantly. So late game terror is definitely the definition of Salem when you're playing that island position. And now, you know, yes, we have 1.4 million potential damage. I've had 3 million potential damage games in Salem as well. I can't do that as much, realistically, in Des Moines as I can in Salem. And so when you have a ship that has amazing HE, 2 and 3 millimeter guns, amazing 2 and 3 millimeter AP guns, you have a super heal, you have the 8.5 kilometer radar, you have really great AA. I have a game where it was Salem versus Malta. I'll throw that in the end. That was a fun game. We really got to troll the carrier, but we really took a lot of damage from the carrier in the process, and it gives a really good breakdown of how to deal with carrier players that are focusing you, right? So when you have a ship that has just amazing guns, it's just, you can take her a long way when you understand her strengths and weaknesses. Again, weaknesses, you know, ship isn't the best in terms of agility, slower turning traverse. She has a weak torpedo belt protection. I think it's like 7-8%, and very large citadel. You don't broadside. Light cruisers, if they're close enough, heavy cruisers, battleships, even aircraft carriers like knock them off. There's you know, even a Malta AP dive bombing you, if he gets lucky, terrible. So this game's 214,000 damage, 333 shell hits, 4 destroyed, 15 set on fires, Wither, Confederate, high caliber. So just giving that taste of the Halsey OP pairing with Salem here. Going to post the team score. We're going to top the team with 2,500 base XP, so our Selme and Soyuz did really well. Once we wrapped up that flank, was able to make that swinging motion over towards the other caps. So once you wrap up a cap, so shooting that strong, that many ships on one flank, you need to be able to push and go support the remainder of your team on the opposite side of the map. Fire 63,000, AP 38,000, high explosive 108,000, even one secondary battery hit as well. 16 shells fired, and then here you can see with premium count. From what I read of Salem, Salem was the first, how did they phrase it? The first non-tech tree tier 10 ship in the game. So she's been in the game for some time. She's available for, I believe it's 244,000 coal and armory. If you're wondering about picking up Salem, I would say pick up Des Moines first. If you like Des Moines, then you're gonna really like Salem. If you hate Des Moines, then maybe the playstyle's not for you, and it's not worth making that call investment into Salem. So that's just how I would simply answer that. I'll throw some other videos. I'll throw that Salem versus Malta game, and then maybe I have something else. Maybe I have like an upgrade commander build video. You can see me go over the ship more in depth, talking about her armor, the upgrades, consumables, combat signals, commander skills with pairing with Halsey and such. And she's just my favorite heavy cruiser in World of Warships. And I often have really good games with this ship. So I'm going to do another video soon. It'll be my favorite light cruiser in World of Warships. But Salem is king in my heart and mind for tier 10 heavy cruiser in the game. Which brings me to say that Salem is a museum ship. So she's in Quincy, Massachusetts. So a good place to go visit the USS Salem. According to the website, it's the world's only preserved heavy cruiser, and the former Quincy Four River Shipyard, one of the nation's largest shipbuilding enterprises in historic Quincy, Massachusetts. I don't remember if they said that if the ship was built, was laid down on the 4th of July, 1945 at the Bethlehem Steel Company, which is also one of my favorite battleships in the game. Massachusetts was also laid down and commissioned in her part in World War II. Speaking of which, even USS Massachusetts is also in Massachusetts at Battleship Cove. I think it's in Fall Rivers, maybe? Yeah, I think Fall Rivers, Massachusetts. And they also, I think they have a submarine, and they have a destroyer there. I think it's a Gearing class destroyer. So if you find yourself in Massachusetts, don't think I've actually been through there yet. I would visit those ships and recommend you doing the same. So if you liked today's video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Subscribe if you do want to see more. If you're subscribed, thanks so much. I really appreciate it, and we'll catch you next time. Take care.